I saw the story yesterday, and it was a story that intrigued me because dairy farmers get a bad press. You would have heard of a phrase called peak cow. You know, it used to be peak oil, as in they couldn't discover any more oil and it was all sort of declining, but then they did. Remember ecologists used to go on about that?
Yep.
Well, environmentalists and ecologists... Well, yeah, exactly. But environmentalists and ecologists are also going on in this country about peak cow. And dirty dairying has been a phrase that Greenpeace picked up, about 10 years ago. And it's sort of tainted an industry, to be fair. They've also not only had dirty dairying labelled at them, but they are apparently profligate users of water. And when they are beside waterways, that's one of the reasons that they were called dirty dairying. Also, their cows emit serious methane. And so therefore, there has been the suggestion by the Climate Change Commission and others that we desperately need to reduce the dairy stock in this country if we're going to meet our climate change expectations. So for all those reasons, dairy farmers have not received the best of, shall we say, press coverage from the mainstream media in this country, and they haven't for a long, long time. But Frano Volkman might be about to change that. He is a farmer who farms in the Little Wanganui area, which I think is not the Little Wanganui up the North Island that's now put an H in and now they call Whanganui, but I'm pretty sure it's on the West Coast. He's, despite his name, not a migrant South African, but a seventh generation West Coaster, and he joins us on the show now. Frano, good afternoon to you. Lovely to have you on.
G'day, Michael. Great to be here. How are you?
Good, mate. Seventh generation. So when did the Volkmans start on the West Coast?
Well, seventh generation on my mother's side. So her maiden name's McNabb. And on my father's side, no, he was pretty fresh for West Coast standards. He came when he was, 5 or 6 from Geraldine. So, the mother's side is where I get the Karamea roots from.
Right, okay. Now, you're a dairy farmer. Have I got that right?
Yep, that's right, yeah.
And you're doing something which I'm sort of amazed by because it's an extraordinary, really, project on your behalf. You are building a composting barn, or at least your composting bedded pack barn, as I think it calls, for your cows. So all your cows go into a barn and they're on stuff. Is that right?
Yeah, that's the one. A composting shelter, they sort of called, and I'll just make it clear, I'm certainly not the first person to do this. I've probably got it off the idea off other people that have done it around the country, but that's the idea of it. It's a shelter. The cows are laying on a bedding or a pack that's 800 mils thick, and it's made up of wood chip and sawdust, and just to give them a bit of a place to shelter from the extreme weathers, that we certainly seem to get on the West Coast.
But you've built I'm looking at it now, a huge shed. It's still got exposed sides, I think, but it slopes down, how tall is it? About 10 foot off the ground at the sides, is it?
Yeah, about 2.8 metres, and it goes up to about 12 metres. So it is a big shed. It's 140 long by 45 wide. So that should be big enough to accommodate our herd of 650 cows. Okay, so you've got 650 cows under cover. And when you put them on this 800 mils or almost a metre of sawdust and chips and the like, they crap on it, right? So what happens then? Yeah, so, in the perfect world, they crap and pee on it, and basically a composting process starts, and that generates heat, and the good bugs break down the crap and the wee, and it sort of gets absorbed into the wood chip, and the bugs feed off that, creating heat. And every day we'll run a tiller through it just to aerate it, and that'll help the process of composting. And so you get the nutrient being taken care of, and you also get the heat that will keep the cows warm.
So the heat keeps the cows warm. Also, the protection of the barn keeps them from the extreme weather, particularly cold and rain and wind. And then how often before your composting material needs to be taken out? Like, it can take no more peas and wheat.
Yeah, well, that'll be trial and error. We've heard of it lasting in some other barns 5 years.
Wow.
Down to So, but we're banking on. Well, we'd like to see at least 2.5 years, but that may require, because the bugs are actually physically eating it, it's going to go. So it's sort of slowly disappearing. So we'll be topping it up as I would say.
Oh, I see.
As we go.
Right. So the actual material lessens over time, and you continually need to top it up to get to that 800 mils. Do you? Yeah. Like I said,
it's a new concept for us, so it'll be trial and error. But that's how we're that's what we're working for it to happen. And then when it becomes sort of past its use by date, we'll take some out, and that'll be used as a fertilizer.
And that's the issue, isn't it? So the byproduct of this is an organic fertilizer that you can then apply to your fields, correct?
Yep, that's it, right.
Right. Now, I'm interested in that because we know that dairy farmers have used a lot of nitrogen. Obviously, wherever you are in New Zealand and you're a farmer, there are new environmental regulations designed to reduce the amount of fertilizer that you can place. Does the organic fertilizer trouble the environment in the same way that synthetic fertilizers do?
I'm not a scientist, but my understanding, well, it depends how far you want to go in the conversation. But you got to put fertilizer on, because the cows obviously eat grass, which is where the fertilizer ends up to a certain extent, and that turned into basically protein that people eat. So you got to keep replenishing what you take out. So we will potentially replace synthetic fertilizer, which even the word synthetic sort of gets people going, but we'll replace to a certain degree amount of the synthetic fertilizer we put on with this the compost that we've created. So look, I'm not in a space to comment on what's better. I think each one has its place.
Did you need a resource consent to do this before you went down this path?
Yeah, we did. Yep. Basically because it's the size of the structure, but the regional council were pretty. They certainly weren't anti it, so that was really good. They see the benefits, I believe, for the benefits that it'll bring, and it wasn't a challenging process. But we're what probably helped us is the size of the structure can potentially cock up a few people if they're by main roads and that.
Yeah.
But for us, where it is, it's not visible from the general public, so that sort of cancelled that problem out. But overall, no problems. This is
a massive investment, is it? I mean, how many hundreds of thousands of dollars am I talking to create a structure like that?
Yeah, it is a big investment. We're budgeted on costing $2 million, but we're hoping to sneak it in for about 1.8. So yeah, it's got to work, that's for sure.
Okay, so you've got a almost $2 million structure to house 650 dairy cows. You're creating, or your byproduct is an organic fertilizer that you hope to be able to use. Why, can I ask, are you doing this?
Yeah, a few reasons. I mean, so, there's no secret, we get a bit of rain here on the West Coast. problem we have, Michael, is we can get periods of and look, this is nothing new. It's been happening for years. Periods of pretty harsh weather, and to generally sum up, it's really just to take the hits out of the seasons and just create an environment for the cows that we can handle what Mother Nature throws at us. It's to utilise the feed that we've grown on farm better. You might get a real wet period and we've got feed made on farm from summertime, for example. You just can't feed it on the paddock because they'll make a mess. It gets too wet. So it creates a place for us to feed them there. But it's really, if you look after a cow, they look after you. They should produce more, and that's really where we'll try and get the payback from it. And then there's a lot of other benefits that come with it, like your fertilizer that you talk to, and staff welfare and cow welfare and so on.
So would this reduce the amount of land that you need for dairy farming in general, or you're still going to be using the land for 80% or 90% of the time?
No, certainly not living in there. It's a shelter for certain times of the year, and you could potentially reduce your land area, but then you'd probably have to source supplements that have to be fed in the barn from somewhere else. Whereas we're fully self-contained, so we make our supplements at our other runoffs, and then that's what we'll be feeding to them in this barn.
Dairy farming gets, as I said in the introduction to you, a lot of bad press. You're in Little Wanganui, which is up there on the sort of it's north of Westport by about how much?
About an hour. Yeah, Karamia, you probably your listeners might have heard more of, but Little Wanganui is just a small settlement about 15 minutes before Karamia here.
Right. So you're up there. I don't know. Do you get that sort of sentiment attributed to you, or you haven't got enough urbanites living around you?
You just, we do have internet up here, believe it or not. But there's plenty of keyboard warriors out there. But look, I don't let the negativity get to me. Look, we're just trying to do what we think's best, and for this instance, it ticked a lot of environmental and animal welfare boxes as well as profitability boxes. Look, we do get dairy farmers. We certainly cop our fair share of slack, but we just people got to eat, and I think some people forget about that.
Yes. And what about your fellow colleagues, your other dairy farmers? Are they looking at you and thinking of maybe they'll have a good look and see if it works, they'll do it themselves, or they're going, oh my God, he's gone mad?
Yeah, maybe a bit of both. There's certainly, there's a bit of it, obviously interest. It just naturally comes when you do anything like this. But I think there'll be a few people watching to see how it goes, and which is fair enough. Just like we've sort of watched other people do it and see how it's gone for them. But it's not for everyone. I wouldn't expect everyone. You shouldn't. It's not. You don't have to do this sort of thing. It's just for us and where we are in our farming journey. It fits in.
Frano, you're seventh generation on your wife's side. You've got kids, yeah?
Yeah. You got 4 kids, and one's at school and the rest aren't. So we cram them in pretty quickly, but it's good fun.
Oh, so yes, I bet. Sounds it. You're not Japanese, obviously. No, but I'm interested in whether or not you think your children will end up on the farm as the 8th generation.
Oh, look, I won't be. They'll make their own. It would be cool.
Yeah,
they'll definitely make their own choices. They're certainly hands-on, that's for sure. They get bundled in the ute, and they whether they like it or not, really, but they come out and they enjoy it. It would be pretty cool to see it being taken over, and hopefully, sort of something like this can make it more attractive for the new generation. But the decision will be entirely up to them.
Okay. Thank you for joining us, Frano. We'll actually follow you. When's the barn going to be fully operational? Have you got a date?
Oh, it's looking to be about 2 weeks' time from now. So it'll. Luckily, we've got.
Can you
got a hell of a nice
send
fella
us?
with us.
Can you send us a photo of your finished product? Because that would be really cool. Because it'd be nice to talk to you in about 6 months' time. Oh, and who are you voting for, by the way?
Sorry. What
Send me a photo
question?
when you finished it, please, and we'll put that up because we'd love to see the finished product. Do dairy farmers all vote National?
I don't think Andrew Hogarth does. No. Look. It's probably, probably a lot of people think that, but no. I don't know, mate. I don't know.
You don't talk, and when you get amongst each other, and say, "Oh, bloody government, we need to change it."
There's certainly a bit of that conversation get thrown around, but what people tick at the end of the day is you wouldn't know, would you? But yeah, I'd say probably majority might swing that way.
All right, Frano. Nice to talk to you, mate. Lovely, and best of luck to you. That is good on. That is Frano Volkman. Listen, it's something intrigued me. You remember the guy who, the inventor in Wanaka, who started up his own wave for surfing? You know, we had him on about 6 weeks ago. I'm always fascinated by Kiwis who go, $2 million is a lot of money to put into something. So let's just hope it does work.